Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our talk. We're introducing Helm 4. And I said earlier we broke your charts, but that's not true. We did not break anyone's charts. So we're going to start off with that. No charts are broken. Everyone good?
We think.
I know everyone was worried about it. I got one death threat when we announced that we were going to start Helm 4 development. I was told, I will hunt you down and kill you if you break my charts. And I love that passion. My wife does not. So, so as we get started, I want to take a moment and introduce some of our maintainers who are here. Scott, can you stand up, please? Because this is important. Scott is one of our core maintainers. He is actually doing PRs right now, flipping things over. Thank you, Scott. George, please. George, another one of our maintainers. Fantastic work. And our newest maintainer, come on, Terry, stand up. This is Terry. We love him. He's also a maintainer of Auras.
Well, do we have any of the other maintainers in the room? Because I actually want to call out an emeritus maintainer who I see sitting in the front row, who's drinking. So perfect timing. Martin's here. He's one of our emeritus maintainers. Hi, Martin.
Martin, thank you, please.
Yep.
Anyone else? No?
Did we miss anyone?
All right. Do you get the clicker, or I don't have it? Want to go next?
So it's time to release Helm 4. So you may have noticed if you go to the Helm site, if you go to the releases, we actually haven't released Helm 4 yet. So we're going to do that now, live in this room. Rob, can you talk through it while I do it?
And we're going to do it. That was the most uneventful thing I've ever seen. But yes, we did it, folks. It's out there. It was one button, but he was waiting to do this all night. All right. I guess the people, we should kind of introduce ourselves, so maybe.
All right, my clicker stopped working. So, who are we?
This is you.
This is
Matt
me.
Farina right here.
Hi. I'm Matt Farina. I'm one of the Helm maintainers. I've been doing this for a while. I'm a distinguished engineer over at a company called SUSE. And as Rob put on my slide, because he did my slide for me, I am a vegan. I don't eat meat. You'll understand how this plays out in just a minute. I've been doing this Helm thing for a while, but I'm one of your talkers today. Then we've got Rob. Is this your slide?
This is my slide. So my name is Rob. I'm an open source maintainer. I work with Matt here. I do technical community marketing, and I'm an avid hunter. I like to say I take care of the animals that eat Matt's food, but we'll continue.
All right, so we wanted to talk about a little history, because this isn't just the release of Helm 4. There's actually some history going on that's happening at this event. So let's talk a little bit about the history here. If you look back in October of 2015, 10 years ago, we actually had the first commit to Helm. It was by Matt Butcher, one of our emeritus maintainer, or one of our maintainers, who I don't see in here. I think he's off doing something. And that's when it started, 10 years ago. And it was initially announced at the very first KubeCon 10 years ago is when Helm was announced and brought to the world. Right? And so this is the 10-year anniversary of Helm. It is one of the few projects that's actually been around that long, because development started around the Kubernetes 1.1 timeframe, right? This is back before you had deployments or stateful sets, or before you had secrets or RBAC or any of these things we come to take for granted. Helm was actually there at the beginning. And it actually made things a lot easier for people, because you only had the primitives in the beginning. And so then you had Helm, and it merged with another package manager that was being built called Deployment Manager, and that led to Helm 2. And that was only a year later. And then we had about 3 years, and during those 3 years, a lot of things happened. Things like custom controllers, CRDs. There was this massive wave of change in the Kubernetes ecosystem. That's when, deployment, stateful sets, daemon sets, all these things came to be. Secrets came out. You needed to store credentials securely, and we needed ways to handle all of this. So that's when Helm 3 came out. And then we just had quite a while where there wasn't significant change that required us to break or make Helm work with Kubernetes. There are things we could do, things we wanted to do, but we didn't need to. Until, of course, we finally got to the point where we said, hey, let's start making some of these changes. These long-term feature requests, let's figure out how we chase them. So we did. But one thing I did want to highlight is this first blog post here that I had to go back to the Wayback Machine, because when Helm launched, Matt put out the blog post. This is the first day of the first KubeCon. The blog post from day is the company that started Helm. And this is kind of just a bit of our rich history when they announced, hey, we started to figure this out. All right, so we're going to pass off to why Helm 4?
Why? Why did we do Helm 4? I want to come here so I can see it. I think you're a slide off, man.
Can you read that?
No.
All right, I'll talk to it. Okay. All right, so why Helm 4? You see, there was 3 years between Helm 2 and Helm 3, and that was a good long time to develop it. But after 6 years, you have a lot of things that change, right? Has anybody maintained a major version of a code where you didn't break anything for 3, 4, 5 years? Has anybody else in here done that?
It's one guy.
There's one guy in the back. You end up, there's lots of things you start looking at it going, man, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do this. And you run into problems. So after 6 years, actually after 5 years of development, we said, you know what? It's finally time, because that's a good long time.
So the ugly separate interfaces, I remember having to strip some of these out. This is one of the things that we had within Helm. But then with that, we wanted to start following best practices around Go, even though I disagree with some of the best practices. And if the maintainers know, it's an inside joke with that. We're following the Go language guidelines on interfaces with that, right? And so we keeping our modules compatible with that. And this is a standard within Go, so we're following best practices. So this wasn't something that Matt just decided for us. This is actually best practices, I would say.
Yeah, we actually have a backwards compatibility guide, and one of the things we do around Go with backwards compatibility is we follow their guidelines, and they have this, I would call it painful thing, where once you create an interface and you release it, you never change that until the next major version. That's a Goism. Instead, you create a new interface, and then you type switch to that interface. Mm-hmm. And we followed guidelines that are even like that are sometimes painful.
The old Kubernetes. This took me, 6 or 7 PRs to move. We started shipping all of these out. We actually had support for older versions of Kubernetes going back to 1.14, and I believe 1.13 as well. We were shipping out, and we couldn't do it until then, but we actually broke the API, and we modernized and we standardized on the latest versions of Kubernetes. And where do we go back to right now? I think we're only going back 3.
Well, that's what we officially support, but I think most of the APIs are in there to go back much further than that, much further. And I think the cutoff is now 116.
Yeah, and we don't recommend using older versions of Kubernetes. We actually please ask you guys to upgrade. So this was one of the things when I started on the Helm project that I didn't like was logging was pretty, there were some opportunities. I don't want to say it was terrible. There were some opportunities. So Helm v3 had simple logging that predated a lot of things in there. And it was you didn't know what was really going on. And especially when you're trying to deploy something, it breaks, you couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, and just to riff on the logging for a moment, SDK users, right? They would interface with our logging, and they'd go, what is this? Because it was designed more than 6 years ago. And you got to think slog wasn't around. Many of the logging libraries that people use today weren't around. And so it was just this rudimentary wrapper around sort of what Go was doing 6 and 7 years ago. And that is one of those things that was sometimes painful to work with. So modernizing that is one of those things it was a problem for us.
So speaking of the SDK, how many people actually know Helm has an SDK? Yeah, it's beyond just a CLI, and sometimes where we have to test things and go through, it's coming in from the SDK side that the CLI sits on top of as well. You want to talk to this one?
Sure. So has anybody in here created charts and had a feature they just wish was in there? Anyone? Chart builders, yeah, I see hands going up around the room. And with the charts API version 2 that we have, a lot of the fun features we want to do are difficult to fit in there, or they might break the experience. And so we wanted ways to create a future where we could actually get to some of these more fun features without breaking people, because we understand people will hunt us down if we break you.
So what has changed in Helm v4? We have color. It sounds like it doesn't sound like a big thing, but we added color, and I personally like this one. This was like, oh, wow, we have a modern CLI. We have color.
I thought, man, this is so lame. We put color in. I love it, and it just took us a long time because we don't want to break you.
Yeah.
And people parse the output strings from Helm, and if you go to parse it and there's characters in there to do color, then we can break your interface. And so we take that backwards compatibility maybe too seriously, and so we waited a long time to put color in. Commands
can be embedded in other apps. Do you want to go take a deeper on this one and how we did this?
Yeah, sure. So anybody in here use K3S before? All right.
Every hand should be up.
Everybody, lots of people use K3S, right? And you can do K3S kubectl and execute kubectl commands because it's able to embed the kubectl commands right inside the K3S binary. Well, you actually have to structure your packages in your code so another thing can import it and use them that way. kubectl did this a long time ago, but for us, again, API breaking changed to do that. And so we waited to Helm version 4, but now we've made it capable where another application like a K3S, or we've had others, and I wish I could remember the names of them, who said, hey, we want to make this embeddable. So we made all of the commands embeddable, so we can do that same kind of thing that you do with kubectl and other things to kind of riff on Helm, and not just use it as a CLI, but to build on it and continue that ecosystem.
I actually thought this was silly until I saw the use case when you were explaining to me like how it went into K3S. I'm like, oh, damn, I can't believe we haven't done this before.
Yeah.
All right, S-log or slog base logging. This was near and dear to my heart. We implemented this, and we're still working on logging for our SDK users. There's a couple PRs out there by Benoit and a few others. I'm not sure we got those in, but this is one of the things that near and dear to my heart. So we upped our logging game, giving us a better, more robust interface when it comes to figuring out what went wrong with your charts within the application itself. So for me, this is near and dear of bringing in better logging, so we know what this looks like as we move forward.
Yeah, in this one, if you're using something like Flux or something else that's using the SDK, now you can see things like structured logs. And if you're using tools that let you query structured logs, it'll work with that. If you're using, building applications, and this is really for SDK users, and they're using the myriad of log libraries that are out there, even things like Klog, which is big in the Kubernetes community, they all have this slog integration layer. Mm-hmm. And so it'll be able to tie into the myriad of different logging systems without going down some weird different path and trying to wrap it. And our goal was to make that integration nice, smooth, and easy for our SDK users.
This was actually hard to test because I had to figure out how to break Helm in different ways that I didn't know how to break Helm. And so it was I'm like, I need to hit this line. I want to make sure I'd structured the way I wanted to. So it was difficult but fun to do. So we brought reproducible chart builds into Helm 4. So that is one of the things that we asked. So when you build a chart, it will be reproducible. And that's, I'd say it's important.
Yeah, it's important. And it was one of those annoying things where you might build an index file and rebuild a bunch of charts and have automation that does that. And next thing you know, the hash changes everywhere. So if you're looking at those SHAs, building tooling on top of it, man, it changed. Especially when people signed their charts, created provenance files, all that stuff was changing all the time. Mm-hmm. And so we worked to make the chart builds reproducible so you can use Helm package over and over and over on the same thing and get the exact same bits, the exact same digest.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Helm now has plugins that are built with WebAssembly, and so some of the maintainers up here, Scott and George, wrote a lot of this. So these guys brought this in We have a new plugin engines with backwards compatibility with our current plugins. So if you have a plugin that's currently out there, we did not break you, we promise. I tested map Coop APIs on the RC1 candidate, and it still works. But we brought in, actually, these gentlemen worked very hard to bring us a new plugin engines using WASM and an SDK for it. Is it here, Scott, or is it coming?
It's here.
It's here.
It's here.
Okay.
Yeah, and to riff on this one for a minute.
Go ahead.
'Cause I can't help myself. You know, we've actually wanted to do something that was more cross-architecture and cross-operating system because, you know, everyone used to use Intel. Then there was the ARM-based, you know, instructions. And then you got Windows. Yes, we support Windows, Linux, and Mac users. And you get into that matrix. And we've got all these other architectures now that people want to, the power and all this. It's hard to build plugins that cross. And we looked over the years at different ways we could do it. And finally, when WebAssembly came along, we went, aha. But it took a lot of work. So I want to give a lot of credit to these two for figuring out how to make it work and integrate it here, because now that same plugin can be written and run everywhere. What?
What was it?
I didn't know.
Contrib Fest? Yeah, we're gonna.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. There's a Contrib Fest on this today at 2:15. So look at your stuff. If you want to learn about these plugins, building them and contributing them, we have that Contrib Fest session later today for Helm. You can go there and learn all about it. And one of the things for anybody who uses post renderers should know, post renderers is now plugin based. So you can have scripts, you can have WebAssembly, you can port it around. It's all there.
So we laid the groundwork for future API versions. We're on Helm Chart V2 currently.
We're on Chart V2.
And we put the groundwork in for Charts V3 and what that would look like going forward. I think it's in our internal packages currently, but we're working on, that gives us the ability to not break anybody, but structure and work towards building Helm Charts V3. Don't get confused with Helm V3. So there's a difference there.
Yeah, because the internal SDK was hard-coded for just one API version of charts, API version V2, because V1 was almost the same, so it handles both paths.
Yep.
And to do a breaking change meant refactoring a lot of internals. And that's one of the things we did so we could bring forward future changes in the future.
So what is still to come with Helm V4? So we structured the project currently to allow us to do a lot of work on the back end and our internal packages so we do not break people and we can move forward with changing some of the things.
All right, so let's start by talking about Charts API version V3, where we want to make crazy changes. That will be coming during the Helm 4 lifecycle. It's not here yet. One of the things you'll see is charts, the charts today, API version V2, they will just be continued, supported into the future. We don't even know how long yet. But version V3 charts, where we can start making these changes and experimenting, they will be coming during the version 4 cycle. And when they're ready, when we're done experimenting and we've gotten your feedback and we figured out how to do some of this, then they'll go GA just as an experiment during Helm V4, and then a GA way of doing it, and it'll work with existing charts today. You can do it side by side. That's one of our things, is not breaking people, dealing with compatibility is something we focus on quite a bit.
So I asked earlier who knew about the charts, or not charts, the Helm SDK, and we made some improvements to the Helm SDK.
Yeah, well, go back. Oh, I'll riff on that. So the Helm SDK actually had a bunch of changes, right? Massive changes. And so if you are somebody who works against the Helm SDK and builds stuff against it, we actually want your feedback now. I mean, we've been asking for feedback for a while, but we haven't been in a forum like this to do it. Go take a look at it. Try it out, and if there's issues, let us know. We've already found one thing that was missing in the SDK that the Flux project needed, and we're planning on that for the 4.1 release in January. And so we will take your feedback, and we do want to try to move forward to improve things, but there are changes there.
We implemented Go Releaser in Cosign?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No, this is in the future.
I thought we did.
No.
I think that PR is out there. It's seeing it's Terry's, isn't it?
Yes, and it didn't land. It's a 4.1 probably.
We didn't. I approved it. So this
I didn't. This is my fault.
Okay, all right. But this is forward-looking, is implementing Go Releaser with Cosign.
Yeah, so we want to move over to Go
But
Releaser for the builds.
The guy who wrote the PRs right there, and I know I
Yes, and
approved
he's
it.
giving me the death look because I didn't approve it. But that will be coming, and cosign signing. So we do PGP signing today for Helm. If you were one of those people who want to check it, we're going to go ahead and add cosign as well. So we can use cosign to validate those Helm builds. And we're going to do some more robust security things around Go Releaser and cosign to just improve that build process going forward with how we build and ship Helm.
I really thought you approved and merged that.
No.
I'm disappointed. All right, so how long will Helm v3 be supported? And this is a question I get quite frequently. It's bug fixes until July 8th, 2026. That's a Wednesday. We will do security fixes up to November 11th of 2026. And there will be 0 feature backport. So if something hits Helm 4, please do not ask. That's not going there. It's going on life support. And if you have questions, you can ask us afterwards.
Yeah, and the one thing you'll see, you might wonder why these dates are the dates they are. It's because we do releases on the second Wednesday of every month, except January when it's the third Wednesday. Because so many people come back from the holiday break, we actually give a little buffer there. But it's the second Wednesday with not January, and those are the dates for the second Wednesday, so we know when we're going to release those last patch releases.
No backports, none. So, Helm v5, when? Don't know, sometime in the future. This is going to be years away. And the reason why, we're going to collect all those breaking changes that we might think we need going forward, and we'll do it then. But we're looking for ideas. So, feedback, suggestions, but don't come to us about breaking charts. We're not going to do it. But any other of those things to put on there, we'd like to hear it. We have an issue section, open an issue. We'd love to see what your ideas are. Do you have comments on that?
What?
Do you have comments on that?
No, I don't.
That's surprising. You normally do. Getting involved. You can collaborate with us on Slack. We're there. I'm on the Helm Slack, I think more than my work Slack. This is being recorded. I know my boss is going to look at this. You can come contribute code. You can find us at github.com/helm/helm. We are very open to it. We're open to PRs. And then you can come join the Helm community meetings. These are Thursdays at 12:30 Eastern time. I don't know what the GMT on that is. Someone will fix that, tell me. But we would love to see you there. We are always looking for more contributors, more maintainers. So, people coming in, helping, we're all about that.
So, we think about Helm, right? The client, the SDK, things like that as ways to contribute. But we actually have other parts of the project that are really valuable. If you didn't know, we actually have a bunch of charts tooling. Charts tooling that does testing, can do releases up on GitHub, things like that. And that tooling is an area that needs maintainers, right? It's just like anything else. It's a little easier to get into, and there's a bunch of support tooling. So you can use it, you can contribute to it. We have GitHub Actions if you're trying to do testing of charts, stand things up, try them. All of this in GitHub, and that is actually an area that people can contribute to and get involved with. And so if you're somebody who builds charts, and you're like, man, I wish I could get this tooling to be a little bit better, or maybe you didn't even know about the tooling and you want to contribute, that is an area. We also, of course, have documentation. And we have multilingual documentation. So if you're somebody who wants to write things up or wish we better explain things, that's something that you can come contribute to. In fact, we've actually made improvements to it in the last month, launching a new doc site and everything on top of Docusaurus. That's hopefully a little bit easier flow to contribute to in its multilingual format. And then there's the Helm CLI and SDK as well, where we're announcing the 4.0 of today, and you can come get involved in that as well.
Yeah, I'm a big fan if you write unit tests. I personally love seeing it. So if you see coverage that we're missing and you want to write a test to cover it, I would love to see more of that.
Yeah, and my first contribution to Helm years ago was actually to the docs.
Okay. So we are going to be in the project pavilion. I think we're heading there after this talk, and we'll be there most of the afternoon for the rest of the week, I believe. It's our schedule. So if you know where the project pavilion is, when you enter, you can go in. It's make a right, head on down. We're going to be there all afternoon. Myself, Scott, George, and Matt. I think Terry is too.
Yeah. So are there any questions? We have a few minutes left. If you've got questions, please ask the question or go up to the mic.
We got a mic back there if you want to run back and hit it, or we want to make sure everyone hears your question.
Yeah.
Are the WebAssembly plugins using the component model?
Scott,
George.
you want to answer that one, buddy?
No.
No.
Go doesn't support that.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, Go doesn't support the here.
Yeah, so correct me if I'm wrong, George, but Go only supports WASI P1. So we are on WASI P1.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Did you want to add to that?
We wanted to make a simple but working plugin model, so once the ecosystem evolves, and WASM is evolving very fast, so for a little more color, once we get more toolchain support effectively for, say, WASI P3, then yeah, we'll try and get there.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
No one?
No one? We explained everything that well. Well, if you've got questions, you can come get with us afterwards. You've got several of the maintainers here who know about the different subsystems and what's going on. And we'll be at the booth in the Project Pavilion later today if you want to come talk to us.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for coming.